Yeah, I did. For me,
did the Ellwood Boro 5K, which was the second race of the day I did. Finished in 18:21:39. This race started at 11. The first race I did today started at 9, and they were half an hour / 35 minutes apart from each other, so I was able to double up. My legs and stuff were a little wet from the first race. My socks and shoes were completely soaked, but I didn't want to change them on the drive, because I figured if I changed socks before I drove, they would just get wet real quick when I put on new ones. So I just turned the heater on, had it on the floor, and actually dried my shoes and socks pretty good in between that half an hour. Plus I wanted to keep my legs and calves warm, so I cranked it up pretty good. I think on like setting 3 out of 4. It's a nice race. It had like 130, 140 people. Second year I've done it. It's a little bit different how they do theirs. They emphasize like the older demographics, like the 70 plus, and they do like cash prizes for the winners of those age groups. So it's something nice that you don't see at a lot of other races. I was actually going for redemption this year, because last year I finished second. I was hoping to take first this year, but finished second again this year. But I got a cool award in the back. It's like a like a cup, but it's made of glass. I think you ever see those like golden cup looking things with handles on each side? That's what it was, with like Ellwood Boro's second overall sketched into it. It was made of glass, so that's pretty nice. I don't have one of those. The course itself has a lot of turns. Well, I don't know how many it really has, but it definitely feels like it has a lot of turns in it. So you have to pay attention a little bit. They do have cones, orange cones, and they do have some white arrows on the ground this year. Last year was orange arrows. This year they had white arrows with the cones. And if you follow somebody, you know, you shouldn't get lost. They do have a lead car. The police were leading the race, which is always nice. Plus it wasn't a diesel one, so you didn't have to smell the fumes, which is always an extra A+ in my book. I hate that smell of the diesel vehicles. But even with the turns, it's not hard to get lost. You just have to pay attention for the orange cone sticking out. There definitely looked like there were some fast kids today. When I was just standing there, I got there probably about a 22 to a quarter till range from my first race, so I didn't have a lot of time, and I didn't pre-register, so I had to hurry up and get that done. But I didn't have to change or anything, because I didn't change clothes. I just had to change socks real quick, put my shoes back on. Overall, I felt good still from the first race. My legs still felt good. I was kind of pissy at myself, if you read my other review, because I forgot my bib. So I was kind of pissy and wanted some redemption from that. Also, on top of like not winning last year, so I had like a double shot of redemption going in. That didn't work out too good. The kid who won, it was like a 16:32 or 16:35. He just like smoked it, which is way faster, like at least 45 seconds faster than my PR. And that became evident like halfway in the race that I stood zero chance. But early on, he took off and I was right behind him. Well, all right, let me step back 1 second. Like right at the start line, maybe 10 yards up in, there was like a huge puddle, and the four of us like took off while they were at the starting line. Like almost like tripped over each other. The two younger kids like tried to avoid the puddle and like pushed into me a little bit, and I pushed into like Ronnie a little bit. And then after that, it was just like me and the kid who finished first after that. I was trying to follow him and draft off of him a little bit, which did help early on. I was like, all right, we'll see what happens. But he looked real smooth as soon as we started, so I pretty much knew I wasn't going to be able to win unless he faded or, you know, he wasn't like in shape at the time. But chances of that, I think, were also like zero, just because of how he looked early on. But I was sticking with him. I think I stuck with him for a little over a mile. We were making turns, and I was just following along, doing my thing, just trying to wait and pick my moment to see what would happen. I never got the moment or the chance to really push or overtake him to see what would happen, nor did I want to expel the energy. But I really did feel like the shoes played during this race. Like I said, being the second race of the day, I think my legs felt really good, and they were still like fresh-ish. Like, you know, for me to have dropped like an under 18 in a 5K, and then like like less than 2 hours later be able to do another 5K in like 18:20, where I could have actually dropped into the 17s if I had to or needed to. I think the shoes definitely played a factor in keeping my legs fresh. You know, my legs more bouncy running on the forefoot. Or it could have just been wanting revenge and redemption, but I don't know. Oh, I did wear my hat for the race. I actually wore it for both races today. I'm still wearing it. Just to being a little festive, and actually it surprisingly didn't blow off at all. It was actually pretty tight on my head. So I'm kind of happy with that. So I might wear it for another race or two, just to be a little bit more festive, since I don't get to do that much. It's kind of hard to note some of these, because this is another race that doesn't have like a ton of landmark features per se. But I know we made a right-hand turn at one point. We'll say roughly, I don't know, like 0.8 to a mile into the race, maybe. I don't know exactly where. But you're running downhill quick. I turned it on, was getting that free speed. We were doing like low 5s. I might have broke into the 4s or something. Going down that hill just real quick, maybe like a 60-yard hill. Then we do a quick, sharp, like a Z strike to the left-hand side, and there's like this tan building. I'm still like with this kid who's in first place. Maybe 100 yards or so after that. I know it's between this tan building and where we turned into this like ball field / park area. He looked back once. Usually when somebody looks back, they're worried about what's coming behind or see what's going behind. When he looked back, when he looked forward, he put on like a little bit surge. It was like, all right, I guess he's fresh, and he just wants to see that I was still close, and now he's just going to turn it on. And that's what he did. And he started gapping me from there. And once we turned into this park, we have this little bit of another downhill, like a quick downhill, which is nice because if you start really hot, you can recover with those two downhills for the remainder of the race. But when you do an out and back in this park, maybe, I don't know if it's a 10th or more. Either way, whatever. By the time we got to the end and the turnaround at the end of this park, he had probably 20-30 seconds on me. I would say closer to 20. And I sort of knew that was it there. And then there was a gap of another 20 to 30. I think it was 25, 27 between me and third. I was like, well, I guess you're just going to play for position the rest of this race. And I sort of got in that mindset. I gave it to the end of the park, like where we exited it out. Once we exited out, we make a quick right, but after we do like the quick uphill, and that kid at first was just gone. So I was like, yep, I'm not catching him, so definitely don't waste your energy. So that's probably maybe a mile and a half in. So from there on out, I did pull back because, again, I wasn't going to catch him. I knew I wasn't going to catch him. And the way he looked, there was just no point in burning energy. So it was more, keep your position, don't lose your position, because I wasn't going for a specific time. It was just a win. So there was no point in burning up. And then we make a bunch of turns after that. You know, we do a couple blocks here and there, make, you know, left-hand turn, right-hand turn, whatever. There was a couple women out with some children waving, so I gave them a wave. Just be nice. It's nice to have some spectators along the course. Kids seem happy, like, watching the race go on, even though I was only the second person through, but it was just, they were just happy to, like, be able to wave to somebody, be excited about that. And then when I saw our race timer Herb, they were standing at this one intersection looking at people coming. I said, kid's gonna do like a 15:30. It's like, he looks fresh. Like, he looks fresh. Like, I knew the kid. Like, I even said, like, I said 15:30. I was like, I thought the kid was gonna do that. I think he probably could have broke into the 15s if somebody was pushing him. But whatever. Somehow we go up a couple blocks and do like a little loop, like a lollipop type deal, and come back as we're making a couple little turns here and there. Other than that, I felt pretty good. Still had some energy, and I was actually wide awake at the time. So I definitely could have pushed it a lot more than I did. That 18:20, I definitely could have broke into the 17s. The turns do slow you down a little bit because how many there actually are. But whatever. Shit, I'm trying to think of what else. It's probably about it, honestly. I just cruised into the finish line after that. I did use my navigation today. I downloaded the course to my watch because I knew there was a bunch of turns. So that way I had arrows pointing me in the right direction. So I wasn't looking at my time or what the mileage was that, you know, that I ran so far or had to go. I was focused on the directional part of the course today. Well, my watch. Because I figured if anything, that's what I needed most today out of, like, stats. I didn't need my heart rate. I didn't need the elapsed time. I didn't need elevation. I needed to know where I was supposed to turn. Because honestly, coming in, I couldn't remember if there was a lead vehicle or not. And just to be careful, since I knew there was a bunch of turns, just in case something happened where the course markings got messed up or somebody took one down or there wasn't a lead vehicle and I was actually in first place or in a position where I couldn't see first place, I wanted to be sure of myself. So that's why I used navigation today for a 5K when I usually don't. I would say 99% of the time I don't. I save that for more of the longer races. Just one of those things today to note. The legs still feel good. So I think the shoes definitely help keep your legs fresh and be able to run faster, longer, with less effort. Even though they are a little bit heavier than the Endorphin 3s, I didn't notice a difference. So maybe it's the new Elite foam that they added. Who knows? anything else offhand. I don't know. It's just a nice event. A lot of people, like the older. I want to say the older demographics. I don't want to say older people. I want to say older demographics because they promote it as such. And it's just a nice little community event. Hard parking. I will say that. So you have to park along the streets a little bit out of the way, but I snuck in, got a spot probably 10 yards from the finish line. I got lucky. Maybe somebody left, but whatever. Just a nice crowd. I got to talk to some people afterwards because I was actually sticking around. So I needed that a little bit just to have a little bit more fun. I think that's all I'm going to say about that, so I don't bore people too much. But yeah, I would check it out. I said that last year. Maybe next year I'll be able to win it. I'm just on such a losing streak right now. This is the longest I've gone without winning a race since I started winning races. I haven't won one since at least November. I don't even know if it was October or September. So it's been a hell of a long time. I'm going to get home and actually look. I know I won one in September at least. But I don't know if I won anything since then. Oh, maybe October. End of October I did. But, hey, like I tell people, I was never good at running. I just happened to get lucky a bunch of times. The competition was not at some of the races that I've been. I got lucky. Now that I've been running into the better competition, I haven't been lucky. So, hey, can't win them all, but at least I'm out there having fun racing, get some experience and training in. So, gotta look at it that way. Because if you win them all the time, then it becomes mundane and not fun. So it gives a reason to push. And these damn young kids, maybe it gives me some little bit of motivation and some oomph to go after them a little bit and train a little harder so I can actually compete with them. But hey, when the competition's better, you have to step up your game or their game will beat you.